Hi, everybody. Gridiron Girl here again. I just wanted to say hi and thank you to all of the people that have been so supportive and have given me such great feedback. I especially want to say thank you to the women that have indicated to me that they are really enjoying this. I'm glad. So I'm going to try and give you a little bit more guidance, a little bit more of what limited knowledge I have, and hopefully you'll get really a lot more comfortable with what you're seeing in the game and a lot more comfortable with your own opinions and your own thoughts and understanding what you're watching. In in the spirit of that and wanting to get you guys ready for the regular season, I thought I would talk a little bit about the teams within the teams. We love the Seahawks and we tend to look at them like a cohesive unit, and on the best days they are, but actually they are made up of several teams, several sub teams. The ones that I want to hit on today are the three major ones, and that's offense, defense, and special teams. And if you ever get a chance to go to any of the practices, they do it, I think, across a 2-week period, usually end of July, beginning of August, something like that, before the preseason games. If you get a chance, it's not super expensive, and you do have an opportunity to really see the guys. They play without helmets and pads. They play on 3 separate sections of the field according to those teams I just mentioned, and it really gives you a great idea of who does what, gives you an idea of the players, and you get to see a lot of things close up that I think are really cool. I really learned a lot the few times I was able to go to practice. So today I want to kind of hit on the offense. The offense is basically made up of the quarterback, who is a very focal point of the team, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, linemen, and they all, each of them have a part to play. And I'm not really going to break down all of it today, but I do want to talk about the things that I think are probably most familiar to you. The quarterback is basically the guy who is calling the plays. He's well, he's not necessarily calling the plays. He's following up. He's the one who's going to give all of the guys the directions in the huddle, and he's basically the driver. But the moment he lets go of the ball, that's when the action really starts. So it's very, very easy to just focus on him, but in reality, there is a whole lot of other stuff that's going on. The wide receivers are very much part of the passing game, which is also something that's very familiar. Wide receivers are usually extremely fast. They tend to be, I think, a little bit thinner, but that's relatively speaking. And they tend to be taller for the most part. And so, maybe they're going to be in the high fives. They're going to be around 6 feet. They're going to be very, very fast, so they're probably a little bit thinner. One exception is Doug Baldwin. We recently heard the sad news that he was released from the Seahawks, and that was very, very hard. But Doug was very, very special in a lot of different ways. Not only did he have incredible natural ability, but he also was very short. According to his stats, when you look it up, he's supposedly 5'11". Having seen him up close, I would say that's probably a very generous 5'11". He's probably closer to 5'10", but he's really, really super fast. And strategically, he knows what to do at any given time on the field. The other thing that I really, really love about watching wide receivers in particular, although the tight ends and the running backs also have this, is knowing exactly where their body is when they're getting close to the sidelines. These guys practice relentlessly on making sure that they stay within that white line, and you'll see it over and over again when they do a replay, when they're reviewing a play, things like that. It's absolutely remarkable to see some guy going up for a pass and coming down and just nailing it and making sure that he is within bounds. And so that's another aspect of athleticism, particularly when you're looking at wide receivers, that I really appreciate. Running backs are the guys that move the ball forward in a very, very a very determined way, in a very much slower way, and they do tend to be a little bit stronger and stockier. Think about Marshawn Lynch. Sean was a running back and a very, very good one, and he basically powered through the line. The combination of a passing game and a running game is very, very important. In the passing game, you'll see the clock stop at the end of a play. In the running game, the clock does not stop. So you're going to want to utilize both of those different aspects of your offense in a very, very strategic way. Chris Carson has come into his own. He was injured, I think, very shortly after we signed him, season before last. And last season, he really was able to get healthy. And I had a friend who said when we signed him that he was a baby beast. And I'll tell you, he really is amazing. I thought about halfway through the season, I said to myself, you know what? We're going to watch a play where he actually is going to cross the line, make a touchdown, and he's going to be carrying at least one, if not two, defenders with him, and that's exactly what he did. So these running backs are powerful. They also have to be fast. They have to be very, very agile, and they're gonna go up the middle. They're gonna look for a hole anywhere they possibly can, and they're going to give us really excellent field position. And then we get into like tight ends and the Mike and the whales and all of the different aspects of the patterns and things like that that I am still learning about. But the other thing that I wanted to encourage you to take a look at and think about when you're watching the game, and specific to wide receivers, is to remember that they are going on a specific route on a specific count, and they're going to run up to this point, and then they're going to cut inside or cut outside. They'll cut right or cut left, and they're doing it not by sight necessarily. We often think that a wide receiver makes eye contact with the quarterback, and that's not always the case. The quarterback, too, is going to be throwing the ball to where the wide receiver is supposed to be, not where he is. And so that involves a great deal of talent and practice as well. If you've ever been on a football field and you see exactly how long it is, and some dude is running and he wants to catch a pass at 40 yards or whatever, that's a remarkable feat. It's remarkable to be able to throw the ball up above the rest of the players, throw it with any accuracy, and do so and do what I call hitting a guy in the numbers, and that is giving him the opportunity to catch it in such a way that he'll keep a hold of it as he goes down, or preferably as he goes across the goal line. So I would just encourage you to kind of take a look at the differences in the various positions as you're watching the games next season. And not just focus on Russell, although he's fantastic and he's very, very talented, but look at the way he interacts with the rest of the players, and the way he actually is now happily being protected by the linemen. Those guys are the ones that block. They block the rush and give him the time to be able to execute the play that they've all put together, that they've all agreed to. And it's a really interesting game when you start breaking it down that way. So I'm hoping that maybe with a little bit more detail, you'll have an idea of what to look for, and you might be able to see it yourself. Again, there's a whole host of stuff that I'm still learning. I'm learning patterns and routes and things like that. And I can't even start with play calling. I mean, I've seen interviews with Peyton Manning and with Aaron from the Packers, and I'm like, they're referring to this stuff in code. It's crazy, but I kind of liken it to when you're watching a baseball game and they're doing all of those different signs. It's kind of the same thing, except it's verbal. But some of those things that I just shared with you, I think are good, simple basics. And maybe they'll, like I said, give you something new to look for, give you something different to watch for. We're going to talk a little bit about defense, my favorite, and then also special teams in future segments. But in the meantime, this is Gridiron Girl, and I thank you for watching. Thank you to the 5 people and the Golden Retriever who follow me regularly, and I hope you learned something. If you get a chance, shoot me a private message on Facebook if you have any questions, if you want me to go over anything. Whatever I don't know, I'll research, because I got a lot of people around me that are helping me. And we'll get your questions answered. So thank you very much, and go Hawks.